Good morning. Today we're going to be freeze drying apples. Great way for great snacks in the wintertime. First of all, I prepared some water with the Fruit Fresh preserver in it. I like the Mrs. Wages, but Ball also sells one, or you could use lemon juice. Something to keep your apples from browning so they don't look yucky whenever you're trying to get them freeze dried. So I've already prepared the water. And I have a few apples soaking. And then I have my apple peeler over here. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong or something, or if my apples are just too small that they don't peel well. Plus, I don't have a separate heavy board, so it keeps falling in. There's got to be a better way. If you got some ideas, please leave some comments below. But I have arthritis and I can't hold a knife very long. So, I know you have to put it evenly on there. And if the apple's completely round and such, it works pretty good. But if they're really distorted, not so much. And I always have to go back and peel more off that didn't come off. So again, if I'm doing something wrong or there's an adjustment I need to make, let me know. And I don't like to do too many of these at a time. I like to pretty much cut them up as I go so that they don't turn brown and I can get them in that water. And for some reason, I have to kind of hold mine to get it up against the apple. Again, I don't know if it's because my apples are small or what. But as you can see, this one whole section here, and about 1 inch wide of the apple, did not peel. So then I have to go back and peel that part by hand. I then have an apple slicer core, so it does it at the same time. That saves me a little bit of work. These wedges are really eaten size wedges. I like to actually slice them in half to make them thinner for freeze drying. It doesn't take as long in the freeze dryer, and that way you make sure that you don't have any spots that aren't completed. So I just cut them in each wedge in half again, which is what I would do if I was making apple pies also. You can see it's a nice little bite-sized piece that way. Then immediately dunk them into the water. Make sure they get down in the water. Oops, that one wasn't cut. So for the apples that are more uniformly shaped, it works pretty good. I still have to peel some off the top and the bottom, but the middle is done pretty well. Be sure when you're peeling also remove any bruises or bad spots in your apples. You don't want them to ruin your batch of apples. And my peeler would actually core them at the same time if I had that engaged, that piece engaged. But I'm cutting it with this, which also cores them, so that's why I'm not bothering to do that. I make sure the thickness of my apples or slices are about 1/4 of an inch. That's why I'm cutting these again. These are more like 1/2 inch, a little more. So I'll just cut those in half again, and it'll give me about 1/4 inch. Oops. And again, when I throw them in the bowl, I give them a good dunk in the water solution. Okay, I'm going to cut up a few more and then I'll be back. Okay, so I went ahead and arranged a single layer of apples on the tray. Oops, wrong direction. So you can see that better. And then what I like to do with mine is sprinkle a little bit of cinnamon on them. Do keep in mind, however, that spices will seem stronger on freeze-dried foods because, of course, it takes all the condensation out and it just seems stronger. I do this just for additional flavor. It's not required. You can do just plain apples if that's what you prefer. I would not put salt on them because that would make them really salty when you take them out. I'm using Golden Delicious apples, so they're a sweet apple anyway. Then after I put the cinnamon on the first layer, I go ahead and add a second layer. Now I did all of the apples in this layer in this direction, so the apples in this layer are going to go this direction, opposite of the first layer. I try to shake off most of the excess water. You can pat them dry also, but it's not necessary. Just want to make sure and leave just a little gap in between. Make sure there's some airflow. It makes them freeze drier more evenly. As you can see, the Fruit Fresh, or the Mrs. Wage's Fresh Fruit Preserve, kept my apples from browning, so they still look very nice colored. Okay, that's good and filled. You don't want to fill it any fuller because you want to make sure that it slides in the compartment in the freeze dryer without hitting the top, and that there's room for airflow to aid in the freeze drying process. Okay. Now I like to pre-freeze my foods. It just helps the freeze dryer to complete the process a lot quicker and use less electricity. So I will put this in the freezer and pre-freeze them. Once they are all frozen, I do have 3 other trays already in the freezer. So once they are all pre-frozen, I'll bring you back and show you how to load the freeze dryer and the rest of the process. So my apples are frozen, and now it's time to get the freeze dryer ready to go. I'll turn it on from the back. It does take a minute to power up. So at this point, I can either hit customize or start. I hit start and then pre-frozen. And now it will pre-freeze. It takes about half an hour to reach the temperature, and then it will signal me to go ahead and load the food. So I'll be back in about half an hour, just a moment your time, and show you the next steps. Okay, my freeze dryer is now ready to load. It says load food into freeze dryer and close the drain valve. I have already closed the drain valve, which is over here on the left side. So once I load the food, I will hit continue. I will be back with more trays. Okay, I've loaded all 4 trays into the freeze dryer. I'm closing the door, and now I will hit continue. The freeze dryer will continue freezing at a colder temp, and then it will go into a drying mode. This process will take approximately 24 to 36 hours. I do pre-freeze everything, so again, it kind of takes a lot less time because it's not having to freeze the product too. So I will check back in with you once the freeze dryer has stopped sometime tomorrow, which will be just in a moment for you. Okay, the process is complete. So we will need to open the drain valve to vent. Oh, there we go. Sorry. It's now in the open position, and you can hear the vacuum releasing. You can open the door, and I'll test the product, but I'm pretty sure it's well done. Oops, sorry for the... Because I did add time to it so I wouldn't have to get up in the middle of the night. The trays are warm, and it is showing no moisture. So that is good. Okay, I will take the trays out and meet you in the kitchen. Okay, I have 2 ways I'm going to package the apples today. The first is in mason jars, and the second will be in Mylar bags. So let's start off with the mason jars. And I love this because you can see what's in there. One of the things I wanted to let you know, and let's see, hopefully you can hear this, is they are so light and airy and crunchy. Very good. Great healthy snack. So the first jar is apples with no cinnamon. I have to kind of just bounce it around to get them to lay in there because of the shapes. And remember, I did double layer these. I did one direction, one on the bottom layer, and another direction on the top layer, so that the air could get in between them. Okay, so it looks like we'll get 2 quarts. And I'm just going to put a canning lid. You typically can reuse canning lids in this manner, as long as they are not bent. And then I just put the little attachment over the top. and suck the air out. So as soon as I can figure it out, I will add this to my Amazon store. It's not real expensive. I think I paid $16 or $17 for it. It has a little cord and I just keep it plugged in on my power strip all the time so that it's always ready for me to use. Okay, that should be good. And it's sealed. Now this is good for medium time storage, probably up to a couple of years. They won't last that long because I love them. It's a great snack. And then when I take out what I want or eat what I want out of the jar, I can just reseal it again using the same method. So if I don't eat the whole jar by sharing it with somebody, then I would actually reseal it every time to keep the air out of it and keep it fresh and crispy. Okay, the second method that I'm going to do is for longer term storage and utilizing the Mylar bags and oxygen absorbers. I'll seal them with the sealer that came with the Harvest Right freeze dryer, and they will last up to 25 years. So I like to always put some stuff for within the first couple of years, and then if I have plenty of that item, then I start also packaging for long-term storage. Now these have the cinnamon on them, and again they're all nice and light and airy. Oh, I forgot I was going to measure them out. Now, these pouches come flat, but they do have the bottom in them. So to be able to store as much as you can in them, you'll want to make sure and fold that out. And I do so by opening it and sticking my hand down in it and just forcing it out. Now these are resealable bags, so I will seal them with the sealer, but if I open this package and I don't eat them all, I can reseal it. It's like a Ziploc bag with the reseal here. They can be reused, but once you tear the top off, you may have to reseal it the next time below the resealable. A little over a cup I can put in there. Just want to make sure there's enough room inside to close it without breaking them, so I don't fill it all the way to the top. And then I'm going to seal it once, and then I'm going to seal it again. Now the setting on this, the settings are on the end. For Mylar bags, it will be set at 7. For plastic bags, it will be set at 4 or 5. It comes on when you hold it down. You need to hold it down for a few seconds. And there's my seal. Not straight, but it is sealed all the way across. So this bag of this particular product typically holds about a cup and a half. Soups that I do, and then I cut them in rectangle squares, those I can usually do in 2-cup increments. things such as, I do a lot of diced bell peppers, that would also hold 2 cups. It's easiest if you write on the bag before you seal it. Oh, I forgot the oxygen absorber. I have to remember, I'll have to go back and open the other one and put one in. Now these are overkill. They're for the large size bags, but I looked and I didn't have any for the small. So I'll just use that and it'll be fine. Again, that was a little bit straighter seal. You want to make sure that the oxygen absorbers are not out in the air for more than a few seconds. Otherwise, they will already be wasted when you put them in the bags. These particular apples are golden delicious. I can't remember if I told you that on the video yesterday. And they are quite sweet, so they're very good tasting naturally. Don't add any sugar or it would be too much. I will go ahead and finish packaging these up, and I'll be back with you so you can see what our total yield was. Okay, so I have the finished product, and we ended up with 5 quarts of sliced apples. 2 of them were the plain, so typically I get about 2 quarts per tray, and 3 of them were the apples and cinnamon. And I ended up with 6 pouches. So again, the full Mylar bags will last up to 25 years. So that will go in my long-term storage. These I will actually put in a bin, a storage bin, because I just don't have room on my shelves, in my canning shelves. These will go on my canning shelves for earlier use. Now there is one other kind of bag, and this is half Mylar and half plastic. It's nice if you really are not packaging for long term. You can see what's in it. It keeps them nice. It can be a grab and go. So this is a nice alternative as well. And I do have the oxygen absorber in here. For these size pouches, you typically would use the 300cc, not the 700cc that I currently have. These are for the large Mylar bags. I thought I had a box, but I'm out. So, and the other thing to remember is to always reseal your oxygen pouch absorbers, the ones that you have not used. so that they don't gather the oxygen and go bad. That way they're safe for next time I'm ready to put things in our bags. The one other thing I wanted to share with you up close, this is the jar sealer that I use. It is the NutriSeal, and I will link to my Amazon store as soon as I can figure out how to do that. But that is where I got mine, is through Amazon. I get a small percentage of kickback on anything you buy through Amazon. It comes with both a large mouth or wide mouth and the regular cap for sealing, the actual vacuum sealer, a tube to use if you're using it with a different type of vacuum sealer, but the whole purpose I bought this was so I could use this quick and easy without getting out my large vacuum sealer, and a lid opener. So again, each time I want to use these, if I'm not using the entire quart, I just put the lid back on and re-vacuum seal it to keep out any excess air and keep them nice and crisp. So hopefully you found this video informative, educational. Please give me a thumbs up, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, for your time today. And the best way you can help us to grow our channel is to share our videos on your social media. Thanks so much. God bless. Have a great day.